Superstars, how's it going? This is Coach Wood, and I am so glad that you stopped by the channel today so we can get after it, you guys. If this is your first time joining us, this is the football channel. As you can tell, I'm your host, Coach Wood, and we're about to get after it for the aspiring football players, the parents and families of football players, and the coaches out there, you guys. This is the Weekday Huddle where we cover the topics that pertain to you guys, that you can take it, execute, and get ahead of the competition. So I'm excited for today's topic, you guys. We're going to talk about the most important stat in football. The most important stat in football, there's so many stats that pertain to you young athletes and that can help you get where you want to be and that you use to boost up your ego and tell people how bad you are. But do you know the most important stat in football? That's what we're going to talk about today, you guys. But before we get into that topic, make sure that you check out the description box so that you can see the resources that we have for you young football players and families out there. And then also, if you do enjoy the content that is shared today, do Coach a solid. Do me a solid. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you tell a friend so that they can come back with you to the Weekday Huddle next time, you guys. So let's get into today's topic, man. What is it going to be? Is it going to be touchdowns? Is it going to be sacks? Is it going to be receptions? What is the most important stat for an individual, not a team, but for an individual football player? What's the most important stat in football? What do you think? Well, I'm going to tell you what the most important stat in football is. And don't take it too much to heart because this is just one man's opinion. This is one coach's opinion. But keep in mind, this is the opinion of a coach that has played a long time and at a high level, and someone that has coached for many years and helped many athletes get to where they want to go. And then also many teammates I've talked to about this very topic have told me the same thing. And it may be something that you guys ain't fully thinking about. But do you know what it is? The number one stat, you guys, in football, in Coach Wood's opinion, is consecutive starts. Consecutive starts is the number one stat in football. Why is it the number one stat in football? The reason why it's the number one stat, and actually, you guys, I didn't really come to this conclusion until after my career. When I started thinking back on my career, and as you can see from the helmet behind me, was fortunate enough to play at the University of Colorado. After that, blessed to be able to have a little time in Canada, Arena Football League, and bouncing around trying to get to the NFL. But when I really thought back on my career, you guys, one of the things that inhibited me wasn't my play necessarily on the field. It was the fact that I just couldn't stay on the field. So when I started really thinking back about the stats that really matter in football, first and foremost, man, it's got to be consecutive starts. How many times did the coaching staff choose you to be the representative that went out there at the beginning of the game? That's the big boy stat, you guys. And if you look at the NFL or if you look at college programs and you dig and find who is the player with the most consecutive starts for this college program, Cal Berkeley, Florida State, USC. If I go to the NFL, who was the most consecutive starts for the Colts? Most consecutive starts for the Cowboy. I guarantee you that was a bad man. And in a lot of cases, you guys, it's probably going to be somebody that was a Hall of Famer, a Pro Bowler, an All-American, an All-Conference player. The reason why consecutive starts is the coup de grace, you guys, for a stat is because it sums up everything. It absolutely sums up everything, you guys. Think about it. To have the most consecutive starts, let's say you had the most consecutive starts for the Rams. So that's LA Rams, that's St. Louis Rams, that's Anaheim Rams. You had the most consecutive starts ever for the Rams. That means that you got through the politics of pro football. That means you survived the injuries enough to stay on the field and start. And that obviously means that nobody from a competitive standpoint was able to knock you off your pedestal. So, how many consecutive starts? Because anybody could start once. I've started and then been put on the bench before. So anybody can start once or a few times. Anybody could start half the season. But most consecutive starts, and let's say this is over years, let's say this is over decades, that's a bad man. That's the stat. That's the most important stat in football. Look at this right here. Look at some of these names on this list. These are the people who had the most consecutive starts in NFL history. I think your top 16 is right here, you guys. Look at some of the names on this list, you guys. And then obviously number one is Brett Favre. Brett Favre, 297 consecutive starts in the NFL, let alone at quarterback. Back in the day where Reggie White could take your head off. And it's okay. Everybody's going to cheer and applaud. And there's not going to be a flag. There's not going to be a suspension. There's not going to be nothing. Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor, whoever can come take your head off back when Brett Favre was playing. And we all know Brett Favre took some hellacious shots. But guess what? Nobody in NFL history started more than Brett Favre, you guys. So maybe we don't give him enough respect when we talk about the greats of this game, because he's rarely talked about from the quarterback standpoint. Maybe we don't give him enough respect because no other quarterback in the history of the NFL was able to hold off the politics, stay healthy enough, and hold off the competition like Brett Favre. So this is the stat, you guys, because once again, this is the one that's going to sum up everything for you. If you're a young athlete, do not worry about the sacks, the touchdowns, the tackles. All of that is going to come if what? All of that is going to come if you stay on the field. If you stay on the field, you guys. So when I think back to my years, when I think back to missed opportunities, when I think back to the ballers that I played with and the guys that got even more opportunities than I did, it was the ones who were on the field. The ones who were on the field. Once again, you guys, do the research. After doing this Weekday Huddle episode, now I want to do the research. But do the research. If you're in high school, if you're in junior college, if you're already at a university, if you're already playing pro ball and you're watching this, whoever you play for, go do some research and find out who has the most consecutive starts at your school or as a part of your pro organization. And I guarantee you, you're going to find out that that's a bad man. That was somebody that was a baller at your school or at the pro team that you play for. The pro organization, maybe you're in Canada, maybe you're in the Arena League, UFL. Find out who has the most starts in your organization's history, in your school's history, you guys. Maybe one day it will be you. Maybe one day it will be you. But if you want to keep your football career simple, if you want to have people look back on your career and say, hey, he was a player. Hey, he was a bad man. Well, then find a way to have more starts than anybody ever has for the team that you play for. And everything else is going to take care of itself. Everything else is going to take care of itself. Find a way to stay on the field, because as you young football players continue to climb the ladder of success in this industry, you're going to find out that just staying on the field, just being healthy, baby, is something to be applauded. To be applauded. All right. So hopefully this message finds you well, you guys. The Weekday Huddle, we're always giving that food for thought. We're bringing in things that maybe you guys wouldn't have even considered. But a lot of times we'll look at ESPN, we'll look at the NFL Network, we'll talk to our friends, and they're talking about fantasy type stuff. Fantasy stats, how many receiving yards, how many tackles, how many sacks, how many catches. All of that is great. All of that is, of course, a part of football. But the one that trumps them all is who started the most. Who started the most. All right. So, hey, hit that subscribe button, you guys, if you enjoy coming into the huddle with Coach Wood. We've got great topics this week. I'm going to a showcase this week because we're getting close to the camp season and guys getting after and competing to get those scholarship offers. So I'll be at a showcase this week, get to watch some guys compete in front of some college coaches. So I'm excited about that. And of course, we're going to report back to the Weekday Huddle. But hopefully all is well. Hit that subscribe button. Check out the resources that we have for you down in the description box. And you know where I'm going to see you. I'm going to see you at the top, baby. Have a good one.